In this video today, I'm going to be telling you guys everything you need to know about College Football 25 so that you can stay up to speed with everything that has come out in terms of leaks, in terms of reveals, and in terms of what EA is actually going to tell us. With that being said, I'm going to get straight into it with our first topic, gameplay. And the first thing is Campus IQ, which was mentioned in the reveal. It's mentioned on EA Sports website for College Football 25, but there's not a whole lot known about what it exactly means. We know player ratings will fluctuate throughout the game, so I bet if you're up, your player ratings will go up in terms of probably a motivation type system, if you can kind of understand what I mean. And then obviously the vice versa, if you're getting blown out, the ratings will go down. And there'll be other factors in that if they're having a good game personally, but this is just speculation, so this is all they really told us, is that the player ratings will go up and down. Another thing they mentioned was that there will be new in-game passing mechanics, and they specifically said new, which means it hasn't been in Madden and it hasn't been in NCAA 14. And while I'm glad they're doing this, I'm glad they're making a new game, hopefully they're fixing things, but I don't want passing to be too complex and too kind of tedious. Like, every other game you press a button, it passes to him. I don't need a timer or stuff like that to make it harder, I guess. I don't want to complain already, but I'm just saying I hope it's new, but in a good new, and not just trying to do too much. Something else that has been mentioned a lot is the wear and tear system, which they mentioned again in the article. Basically, they're saying how when you're playing a game, your players will get worn down and stuff like that. If you have to substitute to make sure that each player stays healthy as they can. And I think it'll apply to throughout the season too. If you're playing one player all the time, then they're going to be worn down, But I do hope it's realistic. Like, one thing I said is that I don't want my quarterback getting dog tired by the fourth quarter, because that's unrealistic. Unless they're scrambling and taking hits, like, quarterbacks should be able to play the whole entire game without an issue. So I'm worried they're going to do that, but I hope that they keep it realistic. And obviously running backs, teams in real life substitute running backs to make sure they stay active. So if they do something like that, that'll make a lot of sense, and I would definitely like that. Another thing they mentioned is something called pre-snap recognition, which they said you can go and gather intel at the line, I assume with your quarterback, obviously, but they really didn't give us much else to go off of. We've had past things where, I guess when you read option, you know exactly who you're reading, and they make it easy for you. So if it's something like that, that would make sense. Probably the easier difficulties, you could even have pass reads, if this guy goes up, throw it here, I don't know if that would make it too easy, but they really don't give us much. They say you could throw it to a freshman or a senior based on how the game's going, which could really mean anything. So it's impossible to say what they really meant by pre-snap recognition. If you guys know what it is, please comment down below, but I was kind of caught up on that. I didn't really understand exactly what they were going for. They also talked about strong home field advantage, so a similar feature to NCAA 14 where the screen is shaking, your icons are missing, there's moving play art, the squiggly lines, so they're bringing that back, but I do hope they expand on it and add more features, not like super annoying features, but ones that make it more fun when you're playing in a crazy atmosphere, so it makes it harder when you're on the road, because we all know in real football how hard it is to play in a super electric environment. Moving on to game modes, they have 4 main game modes they covered in the article, and I'll list them right here: Dynasty, Road to Glory, Ultimate Team, and Road to the College Football Playoff. These are all confirmed, obviously, like I just mentioned, but there's probably more. I don't know about the main game modes, but there's more, sub-level game modes that they obviously haven't told us about yet. So I'm going to go in order, kind of saying what we know and what the article mentioned. Dynasty will have NIL, the transfer portal, and changeable coaching staff, like hireable. You can fire them, especially if you're the head coach, and they will all play a role based on how you build your program. We will probably get reveals on how Dynasty will work, because they did say, and kind of lower down, they said throughout the weeks leading up to July 19th, we'll get these reveals. So who knows when those are actually going to come out from EA, but we'll get some deep dives pretty soon. There will also be Online Dynasty that was confirmed with up to actually 32 players, which I don't know that I know 31 other people to play with, but that's that. But the one thing people complain about is that there is no cross-platform in terms of Dynasty mode, so you're all going to have to find 31 people on the same platform with you, so good luck with that, I guess. Road to Glory is another game mode that was obviously confirmed, but we do know that the transfer portal will be in it because they explicitly mention, they say something about if you're not getting what you want at your school, transfer. So we know obviously that's in the game. There's a lot of technicalities they're not going to go into yet about exactly what's in Road to Glory, like spring games and all that stuff, but we'll have to see when it actually comes out. NIL is something I've seen conflicting reports on online because some people say, oh yeah, it'll be in there for sure. Other people say that it isn't directly associated with the schools themselves because if you know, like the private people come in and pay people to come to a school, so there's kind of a gray area there, but I do think it will be in the game in Road to Glory and play probably more of a smaller rule than you might be used to just because, I don't know how they're going to deal with that in terms of actually implementing it, but I do suspect that you'll get more money based off obviously who you wants to go, but how they're going to implement you with the money to like actually incentivize you to use it, if you can kind of get what I mean. Like obviously in real life it's money, college kids want money, but in a video game it doesn't really mean anything to us. So we'll just have to wait and see about that. We know that GPA, image, and other outside activities are a factor. This was definitely confirmed in the article. So you're going to have to manage multiple things when you're in college, more than just, going out there and playing. Another thing is coach trust, which I think image could definitely play into that. If you screw up, coach trust will go down. But it's something going to be similar. They didn't say anything about position battles, which I was a little bit disappointed, but it is what it is. We also haven't seen anything about importing your player into Madden, which I think that's a pretty staple kind of feature, so I think they're not going to leave it out, but I don't think it's confirmed yet. Again, comment and say if I'm wrong, but I don't think it has been confirmed yet. The third main game mode is Ultimate Team. They said that there's going to be head-to-head seasons as well as head-to-head gauntlets, basically kind of like Madden and how you play competitively online and stuff where you can go through the ranks, you lose, you're done, or I don't know exactly how it works. I don't play really Madden that much, but you kind of understand what I mean. We know there's a currency called college football points, or that might just be a generic name, but anyway, in the deluxe edition you get 4,600, so we'll see about that. I think we'll have legends and past players for each college, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't know, again, how the NIL and kind of paying college players in the past, how that's going to work. But I assume we'll have like Archie Griffins and stuff like that where you can get them on your team. And then hopefully they do have a draft mode, kind of like Madden, where you have the 3 cards you can pick, then you build a team, you pick your legends at the end. So I would definitely like to see something like that in the game. Finally, the last game mode is Road to the College Football Playoff, which is new to this game. And it seems like kind of a similar thing to Ultimate Team where you're playing competitively online, except it's with a normal team and you're trying to rank up. There's something about if you play better opponents, then you get more votes. So here's my theory, right? You pick a team. If it's bad, you get more points when you win, and then you probably get to choose who you play. You might have 3 options like Hawaii, and then like Missouri, and then Ohio State. And obviously, if you play Ohio State, you're going to earn the most votes. I think that's like how they're counting it, and then you rank up, and when you reach the last rank, you win the national championship. So I think that's all we really know about it. That's what I gathered from their description. So this is definitely a new game mode, obviously. It wasn't in NCAA 14, so we'll just have to see the specifics because we can't really go off anything. We've never seen it before, so hopefully we'll get a reveal soon. Then there's Team Builder, which is pretty standard. That was up in the air. I mentioned it earlier, but now obviously it's confirmed. I don't think it's going to be super in-depth, but it's going to get the job done. You have to go online, use it to make a school. You can use it in private dynasties and like offline dynasties and offline play now, which makes sense because they're not going to have, Team Builder in some of the online modes. Finally, Miscellaneous is just basically a bunch of different stuff I threw together. There is multiple commentary crews. Herbstreit and Fowler are the big games, and then there's 3 other people that do the smaller games, and there might be a little bit more. The article I read was a little bit old, so I don't know about that. Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt are not confirmed, which I specifically looked them up, but they are not because that's a travesty if Gus Johnson is not in college football, but there's probably something about legal and copyright and the crew that they're on, so it definitely sucks if that gets in the way of him being on the game. And finally, Dynamic crowd will be in Dynasty. You know, if you're losing games, then you'll have less people in the crowd. It was in past versions, so that will be in the game. But if you did make it this far, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.